How to sleep for 8 hours straight without needing to pee. Studies are showing that just 3 grams of this amino acid helps people to sleep right through the night without waking up to urinate. For example, you may fall asleep fine, but then at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning find yourself sleepily walking to the bathroom, and then from that moment on your sleep is broken. Repair actions that usually take place during the deeper stages of sleep, where old damaged parts of cells get recycled, where your brain flushes out waste, and where your emotions and memories are reset. All of these systems get shut down just because you woke up to urinate. Waking up to pee or nocturia affects over 50% of people over 50 years old. But what if I gave you the exact simple tools that you needed to sleep through the night for 8 hours? That's where 3 grams of this simple amino acid called glycine comes in. Your bladder isn't always full when you wake up. It's just sending overexcited nerve signals to your brain too early. This is called the micturition reflex, where your bladder sends these signals that wake up your brain to pee. However, 3 grams of glycine 1 hour before bed can reduce these false alarms so that you can sleep for much longer without being interrupted to urinate. Glycine isn't just an amino acid used for healthy joints and muscles, it's also a calming neurotransmitter that activates special glycine receptors in your spinal cord, and this dampens those overactive signals traveling from the bladder up to your brain. So instead of your bladder sending a loud "wake up now" alarm, the message gets quietened, allowing you to stay asleep for longer before that urge finally arrives. And this is not just a theory. Scientists actually put it to the test. The clinical trial published in the Journal of Complementary and Integrative Medicine found that adults with nocturia who took 3 grams of glycine every night for 4 weeks had remarkable results in improving their sleep compared to those who took a placebo. The results showed less total urination, less urgency, fewer needs to urinate in the night, and their bladders were able to stretch for much longer before signaling the brain to wake up and urinate. This very simple shift allowed these participants to reach deeper phases of sleep and re-enter REM cycles that normally would get cut short by bathroom wake-ups. Interestingly, the study also showed blood pressure improvements as well, because sleep is essential for regulating cardiovascular health. But how do you actually take this glycine without making your problem worse? Because we don't want to be drinking too much water at night and filling up our bladders, it's best to take it in a capsule form with a tiny sip of water, around 60 minutes before you plan on sleeping or going to bed. I would also recommend starting your wind down time at this point by turning off all blue light devices and screens that can dampen your sleep. Start to slow down your breathing whilst consciously just calming down your muscles that carry tension through the day. This final hour of wind down will also give you one last chance to empty your bladder before drifting off into uninterrupted sleep. Glycine can also work a little bit better when it's stacked with the right support. One option is to take 1 gram of taurine alongside your glycine. While the glycine will help to suppress the urge to urinate, the taurine actually helps to calm down an overactive mind for even deeper sleep. Early evidence in lab models shows that taurine boosts total sleep and quiets overactive brain activity in animal studies. And I've personally found that when I take taurine, I sleep much more deeply and I tend to wake up feeling calmer, and my emotions from the previous day have quietened down much more. Another commonly used remedy for sleep is magnesium glycinate, which helps to relax tense muscles and also boost the sleep hormone melatonin. But taking too much of this at bedtime can actually trigger fluid shifts that make you urinate. So if you're using this, it's better to split the dose, half in the day 200 milligrams, then the other half alongside your glycine before you go to bed. This will help to reduce the amount of urine that's building up inside the bladder itself. But even the best supplement stack won't work if you're undoing it by drinking too much before bed. It's very common to feel that thirsty urge at night and keep some water on the nightstand. But unfortunately, drinking in the night could end up waking you up to urinate, ruining your sleep. Instead, I suggest you drink more water in the morning, adding some electrolytes, or perhaps a quarter of a teaspoon of Celtic sea salt. The sodium in salt pushes fluid deep into your cells when you actually need it to start your day. But do avoid drinking any fluids for 3 hours before you go to bed. Don't worry, the human body is well adapted to fasting from water during sleep. Now, a small tea, perhaps some lemon balm for relaxation is fine, but no more than half a cup if your bladder is sensitive. You can also shift where your body holds that water, not just in your bladder at night, and this is where creatine and timing your carbs comes into play. Although this step is completely optional, taking around 3 to 5 grams of creatine in the morning was shown in a study to pull more water into your muscle cells, reducing evening thirst and cutting down those late night trips to the bathroom. Another simple tweak is eating your carbohydrates with your evening meal instead of during the day, because this will raise insulin slightly and reduce nighttime urination, moving it closer to the morning instead. Just be sure to finish your dinner at least 4 hours before bed so digestion doesn't interfere with your sleep. But here's something most people never even consider with sleep. If your pelvic floor muscles and your glute muscles are weak, your bladder can actually send false alarm signals waking you up to pee. This is very common in people who sit all day or don't train their lower body. Here's a couple of exercises that you can use to strengthen up your bladder. Kegels. Tighten those muscles that you usually use to stop your urine mid-flow. Hold this tension for 5 seconds and release for 5 seconds, and practice this periodically throughout the day. These muscles form a hammock that physically supports your bladder. Hip bridges. Lie on your back, feet flat, and push your hips up, and do 10 to 15 slow repetitions twice a day. Strong glutes prevent pelvic tilt, again taking more pressure off your bladder. And adding 50 to 100 bodyweight squats daily, depending on your level of fitness, strengthens the entire lower chain of muscles, improving bladder control even further. A randomized controlled trial showed that simply training these muscles lowered episodes of nighttime urination over a 12-month period. And now we'll come back to glycine for a moment. When you start stopping those nighttime wake-ups, you give your circadian clock the chance to run smoothly, because deep, slow-wave sleep happens mostly in the first half of the night, whilst the longer REM cycles come later towards the early morning hours. If you break these cycles at 1 or 2 a.m. needing to pee, your body clock gets thrown off completely, and repair systems like the glymphatic flush, autophagy, and hormone release all get cut short. But when the participants in this trial took just 3 grams of glycine before bed, not only did they reduce nocturnal urination, they were also able to move deeper into these natural sleep cycles, and they had sharper focus, calmness, and improved reaction times and energy the next day. Researchers even found that glycine modulates parts of the SCN. This is the master clock in your brain that tells your body when it's time to sleep and when it's time to wake up. But what other factors might be causing nighttime urination that you haven't considered? A glass of wine or a beer in the evening, or a late coffee might feel relaxing, but both alcohol and caffeine can suppress your antidiuretic hormone. So your kidneys just keep pushing more urine out through the night. So only drink coffee in the morning, and if you do have an alcoholic beverage, make sure that it's at least 5 hours before sleeping. Don't snack on sweets or refined carbs late at night either, because this will cause a blood sugar spike and your body will have to flush this out through your bladder during the night. And stress is also one of the leading causes of an overactive nervous system triggering those bladder signals. And stress can be helped by both magnesium and glycine, and also vitamin B1, which comes from foods like sunflower seeds, organic pork, or nutritional yeast. So let's simplify all of this wonderful information into a simple evening and morning routine. Finish your dinner at least 4 hours before bed, eating a small portion of carbs, avoiding alcohol and caffeine. Stop drinking fluids 2 to 3 hours before bed, and make sure to urinate before lights out. Use 3 grams of glycine 60 minutes before sleep to suppress that micturition reflex. And optionally, you can use 1 gram of taurine and 200 milligrams of magnesium for further sleep improvements. If you have trouble falling asleep to begin with, you might want to try my favorite sleep aid from Performance Lab, which I use personally. Then in the morning, it's important to rehydrate for the day by drinking 500 milliliters of water upon waking with 1/4 teaspoon of Celtic or Himalayan sea salt. Gently exercise by taking a light walk and a few sets of squats or glute bridges and Kegel exercises to improve those bladder control muscles, and if you're using creatine, take it in the morning for the best effects. But before you go rushing off to try this routine tonight, there are a few important cautions to keep in mind. Not everyone should jump straight into using glycine or stacking supplements. For example, if you're taking medications for blood pressure, diabetes, or using diuretics, always check with your doctor first, since these can all affect fluid balance. Men with prostate enlargement or anyone with kidney disease should also be extra cautious before making changes. Pregnant and breastfeeding women should avoid adding new supplements unless they're cleared by their healthcare provider, and for everyone else, the smartest step is to simply track your nights. Keep a note on your phone of how many times you're waking up to urinate so that you can see and track your own improvements over the weeks. And if you really want to take this further, try finishing dinner around 6:30 p.m. and then not eating again until 12:30 p.m. the next day. This helps your body enter a state where it actually eats at its own diseases. In the video on screen, you can learn all about this cleaning process. Thank you as always for watching, and I wish you great health, wealth, and happiness.